Yesterday, we interviewed Steve Bruce live on the show. Steve, who has not been without his critics throughout the entire season as manager of Newcastle United.
Yep.
And much of the criticism, Simon, irritated both you and I. What did you find most annoying about it?
I mean, I have a great respect for Newcastle United Football Club and a bit of affection for it as well. But there was a section of their fans that I just think are just noise and abuse and vile and rude and aggressive and disrespectful and cowardly, because they go off at the mouth on social media telling people what they are. I'm a failed football club owner who doesn't know his backside from his elbow. I'm up Steve Bruce's backside. I'm this, I'm that and the other. When what we tried to do yesterday and what we wanted to do and what I like to do is be objective and make people work hard in an interview and not just give it to them and make them have a little rah-rah session and an advertorial. We didn't let Brucey have an advertorial yesterday just because I like Steve Bruce, just because I call him Brucey, and he's someone I've known for 20 years. When he walked out of my football club 20 years ago, I served him with an injunction and put him on his knees with greatest respect. And over the years, we've earned a relationship back with one another. I think he's a decent manager. I think Newcastle was a very difficult job to manage, and I think some of these fans are just mouthy little cowards.
So in other words, you and he have come through a lot together.
Sure.
Some of it good, some of it not good.
And I also think that Steve has made lots of mistakes in his career. I think some of the judgment calls that he's made and some of the relationships he's had with clubs haven't always been the greatest, and I think some of the things he's done at Newcastle. And we asked him that.
Yeah.
And short of turning around and saying you're absolutely effing useless, I'm not sure what else we could have done in that interview for a certain segment of the Newcastle fan base. And I get fed up with it, Jim.
Yeah.
It hold people to account, but piling on abuse is just, to me, just mindless.
Yeah, mindless. It's not constructive. I'm with you on that. Steve Bruce spoke about a whole range of things yesterday. Not least, will he go into next season? Not least, does he hear from Ashley? Not least, what's it been like living through some pretty torrid times without some key men like Callum Wilson, like Alan Saint-Maximin. So I said to him, was he always confident that Newcastle would be a Premier League side next season?
Look, I said all along, Jim, I was always quietly confident that if I get the big players fit, especially the ones at the top end of the pitch, I keep repeating this because it's like a long playing record. Without them at the top end of the pitch were big players who we've invested money in. Then it became a bit of a struggle. We struggled at certain times, and Alan was missing for the best part of 5 months, and I can give you all sorts of examples of all sorts of teams, but a team in the bottom half of the Premier League, where we've been, unfortunately, for the last few years, we just couldn't function the way we would like to without the big players not being fit. Here's the big thing. Newcastle in the last 14, 15 years or whatever have been in the bottom half of the Premier League. And we all would love to see Newcastle United back to where they're signing the Alan Shearers of the world for world record fees. That ain't going to happen. And that's the difficult thing of managing the expectation, which obviously is still there.
So he accepts the expectation is there. But Simon, you look at some of the messages. Aaron, Newcastle fan. You never get it, do you? You and Jim, absolutely clueless. You must be you. Absolutely clueless when it comes to Newcastle. Yes, we stayed up, but we played the worst brand of football for 3/4 of a season. We lost to Sheffield, lost to Brentford in the Cup, but we should be happy.
No,
says Aaron.
No,
we're not saying that.
No, you should be constructive.
Yeah.
You should also have your view, and it's right to be emotive, and it's right to have a view. But some of the nonsense that I listen to, yeah, absolutely. We were the first ones to say, and I said it on the show, losing to Sheffield United and losing to Brentford in the Cup were really, really poor, and that started the extra pile-on to Bruce because of the Brentford Cup game. Was really, really poor,
and he accepted that yesterday,
and he accepted it in previous interviews as well. But the idea, no, of course we don't understand your club as well as you understand it. But some of the things that are being said and some of the manner in which they're being said, I just don't think are right. And Brucey didn't help himself yesterday. Steve didn't help himself because he trots out facts that aren't right. He did, Newcastle have been inside the top 10. They did finish, I think, 5th under Alan Pardew in 2012. So when he makes those sort of observations, he opens the door for people to pile on. But I just think there's a way to be critical. And I listen to the Newcastle fans, and in the end, you start to get to listen to this vociferous minority and think, I don't like you very much. No. I'm beginning to dislike your club as a result of it.
Yeah, and I'm disappointed, I must say, Sammy, because not that long ago, I remember Newcastle played Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. I think it might have been the Cup. Was it? I can't remember. I was at the match. Afterwards, I had some great conversation with Newcastle fans who were beaten comprehensively by Chelsea that day at Stamford Bridge. And they were great people. Made the trip, loved their afternoon, watched the team, were heading home. Now, I know it's not that simple, but how about we temper it down a bit?
But they're entitled, on the flip side of this, they're entitled to have an expectation of how their football club performs and excels or doesn't excel. But when Brucey puts up an argument, when Steve puts up an argument, and I've got to stop keep calling him Brucey because they'll steer into the narrative that somehow or another I'm a crony of his. I'm a crony of nobody's, by the way. I have an equal disparity on everybody. But by the same token, you look at Leicester on Sunday, and people say Johnny Evans coming out of that side was a big loss for Leicester, and hence the reasons why Newcastle would rip them apart. Yet when Newcastle advance an argument that they lose Saint-Maximin or Almiron, then that's not good enough. They should be doing better even without those players.
Yeah.
And I just don't think it's very balanced. And I like balanced arguments, that's all.
Those are the only kind of arguments that we'll have in this show. 08717 22 3344. Why last night, within minutes of the full-time whistle at Craven Cottage, which saw Fulham relegated, was #Bruce out trending? So they were at it that quick.
Yeah.
They were that quick onto it. I mean, what's it going to take for the Newcastle fans to actually accept Steve Bruce? Ian's a big Newcastle fan. Ian, good morning.
Good morning. Hello, Simon.
Morning.
I'm a huge Newcastle fan, and strangely, I'm a huge Simon fan. So you know, we do exist. I think Bruce's appointment is just bad timing. We've had over a decade of Ashley, and then we had Rafa leaving, who was a PR. He did his own PR like it, almost perfect. The only thing I think Bruce talks about expectations. The Newcastle fans don't have any expectations. All we want is a team that try, but. Is that Bruce's fault when he when the team crosses that white line? Is he responsible? No, but some of the players should not be in the team. But, he can only play what he's got.
Yeah, well, exactly. And he made the point yesterday. He's been without Wilson for a while. He's been out with, without Saint-Maximin for a while. I mean, you were 4-0 up on Friday night against Leicester. What did you think then?
Well, I kept refreshing the sky because I was thinking that maybe there's a mistake. Maybe we've got a couple of VAR decisions that are going to go against us. I mean, that was the best we've played all season. But why has it taken to the end of the season to play like that?
When are they good? When are people like yourself and others, and you sound a fairly genial individual, if I may say so, Ian, when are you going to cut Bruce a bit of slack? Or is it beyond that?
I don't have a problem with Bruce. I think he's come up against after Rafa, and he looks like a sort of Brian Glover in Kess as far as the sort of PE teacher style, management style. But I've got a lot of time for Bruce.
Ian, when we talk about expectations,
bad timing.
When we talk about expectations, and I know a lot of Newcastle fans get very cross when people suggest that their expectations are greater than they really are. But I do remember when Alan Pardew was up there and you finished fifth in the league and Mike gave him this ridiculous 8-year rolling contract, which was really a 1-year contract. And the expectation was that Newcastle were going to kick on. But unless you've got an owner that's going to do that with you, then whoever comes into that space, that place, is always going to disappoint people because they're never going to be able to give them what they want. And Rafa just kept on playing the political card of, Ashley all the time.
Exactly. I mean, when you finish that, you then have got to kick on with investment. I mean, we've had little or no investment in terms of sort of net investment because we've sold a lot of players for a lot of money.
Yeah, but Ian, you've got Premier League football next season, mate. You're in the Premier League next season. Would you rather be a Fulham fan, a West Brom fan, a Sheffield United fan this morning?
Oh, no, I mean, I have hated this season because you're just we're hanging on to the Premier League, like hanging on the edge of a cliff.
Yeah.
We need some investment. We've got some fantastic players.
Okay.
Well, first 11 is brilliant, but we need more investment.
And I think, Ian, I think Steve Bruce would agree with that. I'm quite sure if he was with us now, he would agree with that. Where are all the mouthy Newcastle fans who were laying into Simon and myself on social media yesterday? Gone quiet this morning, hasn't it? It's 10:30.